Hi everybody, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. I'm thankful you're here because today I'm finally doing a sketchbook tour. And I believe I started this sketchbook in August of 2023, so it's taken me about a year and some months to finish. Here it is. I got the sketchbook from Five Below. It's just a normal sketchbook. It's not like mixed media or anything. The papers are pretty warped, but that's where I got it. Do I recommend it? Not really, but it's what it is. So let's get started. So as you can see, the pages are pretty flimsy, and I did use like a plethora of mediums in here, and it's held up well. I would recommend more of a mixed media sketchbook, but it worked for me, so maybe it'll work for you. Okay, here is the title page. It says documentation and the true use for the imaginative faculty. And I did this little and sign with one of those like airbrush pens, and it took me about 30 tries because the airbrush pen is about, I don't know, 7 years old, but we got it. And this text is just ripped out of like an old textbook from, I don't know, maybe, I want to say maybe, God, like 9 years ago. I don't really know if this means much to me, but I just thought it sounded cool. So here is the first drawing. Firstly, a lot of this writing, there are some original poems in here, maybe like 2 or 3, but a lot of the writing is just song lyrics because I think it's like the easiest way to sort of fill like the blank space of, you know, of your sketchbook. Sometimes, you know, the lyrics can go with the drawing, so I just kind of like to write to fill up the empty pages. Fill up the empty pages. Because you know how it is, okay? You don't really know what you're gonna freaking... It's hard to fill up the whole entirety of a page sometimes, but anyway. This is an oil pastel portrait. I used oil pastel, Sharpie, pen, etc. And this is another oil pastel portrait. This is when I started to kind of like really get into colored pencils as a means to add more like depth to my drawings. More so details than depth. As you know, I like to blend with paint thinner. The paint thinner never really like bled onto the other side because sometimes when you use paint thinner to blend oil pastels, it will bleed onto the other side of the paper. I didn't find that to be the case in this sketchbook, so. But one thing though, as you can see, I used a shit ton of watercolor ink, and when it bleeds into the spine of the book, the pages fall out. So that's really fun to deal with. So a lot of these like pieces are pretty much pages taped back into another page because it fell out. Here's a poem I wrote, little sketches. His hand, he's supposed to be gripping cloth. Okay, this was like a reference. I used a reference of like a statue. So another oil pastel piece. I draw eyes a lot, as you probably know. I just think it's the easiest thing to, again, fill space, and also when I don't know what to draw, just eyes. So another oil pastel piece. I made this with alcohol ink, and it's on like the paper that you're supposed to use alcohol ink with. Originally she did have more details in her face. You can kind of see like the lines of her lips, but you know how it is. I just had to smudge it with a tissue, and here we are. I like it like this. I was experimenting, and clearly I was experimenting here too. This is canvas paper, and I literally just took acrylic ink and like went like this with my finger and drew whatever I wanted, honestly. So there's that. Again, some more oil pastel. And I made sure to not, I was looking through it and I was like, this other page, don't flip the book back around. This is oil pastel. This is a painting of an eye I did with gouache. I can't remember if I did this like 6 years ago or like 3 years ago. Back in 2022, like I remember filling out a whole entire like watercolor sketchbook, and I can't remember if I did that then or I did it a really long time ago. I want to say I did it in 2019, but who knows. This is a butterfly. I got this from one of those like cutout things from Hobby Lobby that has like miscellaneous like butterfly and like insects and all that shit. That's where I got that from. These are my my oil pastel eye studies, and I tried to cover it with a piece of tracing paper so it doesn't, you know, transfer to the other side. Obviously it still did because these don't fit, but it's fine. It's okay. Oh, okay. This I did with the charcoal. This is a guy hanging his head down. Again, some of those little cutouts from Hobby Lobby, some stamps. And I found myself, like, I kept finding myself coming back to this page. I didn't really know how to, like, fill it out. Like, I think over time just kept adding things to it. And this is ultimately what I landed on, so. More oil pastel. I did do a video of me drawing this. I don't know if I showed the other side, and I don't know if you can tell, but that's an arm, and you know, that's the spine. I don't know if I showed the other side. If I didn't, here it is. If I did, I don't know if I said it, but I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to draw anatomy very well, but I was going for something, okay? I tried. More oil pastels. I really like this drawing, even though there's a little hole in her nose. I don't know if you can tell, but I love this one. Oh. This was from my video on how I like to blend oil pastels. Like I said previously, blending it with paint thinner, it didn't bleed to the other page, and I remember adding the green here, and I was like, do I like that? And I think I do. I don't think there's anything wrong with this painting or this drawing, and this is just all like sort of the swatches of all the colors that I used. I really like this. This is from the other page you're about to see. The Sharpie kind of bled through, and I think that's like a really sort of fun way or fun thing to incorporate into your drawings. So here it is. This just watercolor and marker. This is oil pastel on black paper. And I don't really know like what I'm drawing when I draw these little like squiggly things. I really just go based off intuition, so. This is a watercolor drawing, and I for sure know I did this back in 2019. It has still followed me here, so here it is. And these are watercolor eyes, did in a watercolor sketchbook. Yeah, there's not much to this page, just was going for a green theme apparently. This was a soft pastel portrait that is watercolor. Not much going on here either. I remember I didn't really like the whole portrait of this guy, so I just kind of like cut off his mouth. Again, just more watercolor. I was trying to go for like an abstract look here, trying not to put too many details, and I think it looks okay. I like this. This is very fun to me. I would love to do more pieces that sort of look like this, where it's like abstract and your mind fills in the details or whatnot. This I did with micron pen, black acrylic ink, and marker. This I just did with pencil. Again, one of those cases where like I didn't know what to draw, so I just drew eyes and put a butterfly to make it symbolic, and yep. And oh yeah, this I thought that was on the other side. Flowers, a oil pastel portrait, so this is just an oil pastel drawing, oil pastel and marker. Just cut it off a little bit here at the end. Oil pastel. This, I think, is just watercolor and pen. Okay, so if you saw my other video, this is the pages from that video, from my like art journal video. So for this one, I basically just did like some blackout poetry. This was just this was like directions for an art piece in one of my classes, which I ended up dropping. It was a drawing class, so I still had these though from the first day, and I just kind of made some blackout poetry from it. I think I said in the video that this poem I wasn't really like writing from any emotion, so if you want to read it, that's fine, but I just wasn't really writing out of emotion right there. Oh my god, I forgot I did this. I wonder why. Probably the pages probably kept falling out. But these were sketches from this same drawing class before I dropped it. Just flowers. And this drawing, this was, I believe I drew this when I was coming back to drawing. Like I took, I think maybe like a 6-month break or something weird like that. And just playing with graphite essentially. And this is not the same as it was in that video. I painted over basically everything. Again, some blackout poetry from some notes that I took in another art class that I didn't drop. And this is just a drawing. I did this with pen and pencil and marker and all sorts of things. Animals. Yep, I did draw animals at one point. These were supposed to be guinea pig eyes, a lamb, a mouse, and a bunny, a stylistic bunny. As you can tell, I don't draw animals. These are on canvas paper. Again, I was just kind of messing around with markers, and Sharpie, and pen. And I think these were watercolor markers, because I can see, you know, obviously I used water. So I have these watercolor markers, these ones. Watercolor markers. I also made a video on this one. This is not the same. As you can tell, I always go back just because I want it. Obviously, it's not going to be cohesive, but I mean, I want to add more to things I feel like are a little bit like could be more. And these are by no means like, I mean, obviously a lot of these are finished, but like a lot of this isn't like fully finished pages or anything like that. This was just a graphite drawing. I drew it with Sharpie. This is with charcoal. Pen. I think this is just, yeah, primarily pen, alcohol ink. No, acrylic ink and pencil. Some more Sharpies. Did a video on this too. Drawing with Sharpies. I don't know if I showed this page. As you can tell, when I just feel like this, whatever page is not up to par with the page next to it, I will not show it. But here's the second page. Yes, this, hold on. This and this is the same reference. I'm the only one that can see it. There's that. This was, I was just trying to fill a page. This was like from that old textbook that I told you about in the beginning. Some song lyrics. Ooh. Some graphite drawings. Pretty simple. This I did with tracing paper. So it's basically like a piece of tracing paper layered on top of the other. And it's because I was obviously transferring a picture to a canvas. And I liked the way that it looked with all her little lines over her face. So I was like, okay. So I added this one on top of it. This is just a full pen portrait. This is from like an old oil pastel portrait. I did it on like the proper like oil pastel paper. This is just a printout of like one of my paintings because I was gonna do prints and I was testing out paper and I don't know if I like this paper, but here it is. And yeah, flowers. Again, charcoal. This And this was all originally on one big giant piece of canvas paper, but I just kind of cut it up and, you know, put it in my sketchbook. So that's charcoal. This, I was trying to draw something like this was supposed to be a skull, and you know, sometimes you just gotta let it be. Here's a skull. Here's an actual skull, just with Sharpie. Don't judge me for this. I really love like graffiti fonts. It says elsewhere, okay, I know. Let me live. Inside are two little portraits. This is a watercolor portrait. This is just acrylic ink. These are just song lyrics because I didn't know. I know I said earlier this is like a cool thing to sort of incorporate into your drawings when it like bleeds into the other page. I didn't know what to do here. Just wrote song lyrics that I was listening to at the time. It's a poem I wrote. Just a little like, I just used like a blending stump. Just kind of like went like this. This I also did a video on. This is like my second art journaling video. So these are like pictures again from that old textbook. This, okay, I originally had a picture of a lady here, but I didn't like the fact that I had like a random person's face here. So I just covered it with like this random little cutout of some girl's eyes. That sounds so weird, but like I drew this, I just stuck it on there. I felt uncomfortable with her face in there, so. A tree, because I don't ever draw nature, but I was called to draw a tree. Some eyes, kind of looks like a cat, but I love this one. Love all this. Again, just random pictures from that textbook. I used alcohol ink and sort of just wiped ink over the pictures. And I mean, it took a while to dry, so just if you're gonna do that, use a really thin layer. Gosh, okay. I keep having to stop the video because the garbage men keep coming around. It was just Christmas the other day, so now they're coming in today and they keep interrupting me. Anyway, again, this was like from when I was doing test prints, just one of my drawings. This is the transfer paper I was telling you about earlier, and it says Scathed because I'm gonna release a book and it's gonna be called Scathed, so there's your first look at it. This is, I feel like this is acrylic ink. Girl, sometimes I can't remember. I want to say this is oil pastel and just acrylic ink. Again, this is when I was practicing doing that and sign in the beginning. Those are my practice little and signs on a post-it note, drawing of a girl, looking away, an eye. More oil pastel eyes. This was just watercolor, and cut the bottom of the page so you can see that. This was originally on another page, but it's made its way back here because, like I said, the pages fall out, so here it is. Then originally I had a pen portrait here, but it was another instance where I just didn't like it fully, so I just chopped off half the other half of her face. Oh my gosh. And again, these flowers are from that sort of same little miscellaneous thing you can find at Hobby Lobby. Oil pastel and pen and marker. It was really like, you know when the paper just gets too wet and it starts to rip? I just ripped it out, basically. But I think it looks pretty cool. Here is the next one. This is just watercolor and pen. Again, just watercolor and pen and pencil. This is another little pen portrait. A little portrait. Let me not for you. Oil pastel portrait. This is a watercolor portrait. An eye. What is that? I think that's watercolor. Watercolor and pen. These are all really self-explanatory, so. Did that with pen, just like loosely drawing it. Again, from the old textbook. This, I forgot what it's called, but it's the thing where you take a picture and you like cover it with the blue liquid and you put it out on the sun. That's what I did with these. And this is from a drawing in my other sketchbook. And yeah, put it in here. Again, I did that sort of same thing where like covered the picture with alcohol ink, rubbed off the excess ink, dried pretty well. This pen portrait with some butterflies. This is all alcohol ink too. As you can see, it's sort of like a different, texture when it dries versus watercolor ink, alcohol ink on normal paper. Pen portrait, toxin, just because I thought the word looked cool in that font. Random little doodles. And we're coming to a close. This is just post-it notes and just random drawings. Obviously eyes, kitty cat, stars, plant leaves. And I wrote this with alcohol ink. No, acrylic ink. I always get the two confused. Acrylic ink just says, it's what I do. I wait for you. And that's it. That is my sketchbook. Thank you guys so much for watching, for always sticking around. I can't wait for 2025. And yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, whatever you want to do. And I will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching. I love you.